Hello guys, welcome back to my channel where I bring more history content videos to this channel. Today we are doing part number 7. As you guys can see in my last video, I wasn't able to make part 7. In my last video, I talked about 2 British monarchs, which were George II of Great Britain and his son, Frederick, Prince of Wales. Go check out those 2 videos. And also in my previous video from 2 weeks ago, I talked about King Henry VIII's 6 wives. And my friend on YouTube requested me to do from my next video, I should be talking to you guys about Six the Musical, which is representing all of King Henry VIII's 6 wives. Now, a quick disclaimer, Henry VII was actually the very first Tudor king in the Tudor dynasty, which started in 1485 until 1603. Also, I will be talking to you guys about the dynasties that happened during England. The first one I would recommend is the Tudors. Tudor dynasty. It started when King Henry VII became the first king in 1485 after the reign of Richard III, and he was killed on the battlefield. And then in 1509, when Henry died, his son, King Henry VIII, aged 18, became King Henry. Well, let me just explain it to you. So, Henry VII was the first Tudor king in the Tudor dynasty. He became king when he was 28 in 1485 after the Wars of the Roses. He married Queen Elizabeth of York, and they both, although he did kidnap her, but despite the kidnapping, they had a really good relationship with each other. Henry reigned for 23 years until he died in 1509 at the age of 52. He died of tuberculosis. So then his son became the second Tudor king, King Henry VIII. He got the throne after his father's death when he was 18 in 1509, and he was the one that had 6 wives. He reigned for 37 years, a little bit longer than his father's reign, until he died in 1547 at 55. He died of obesity. So then his only son, Edward VI, became king when he was 9 in 1547 after his death. And then after that, he reigned for only 6 years. He died in July 1553 at the age of 15. He also died of tuberculosis like his grandfather, Henry VII. So then after that, it passed on to his cousin, Lady Jane Grey, although she was queen for 9 days. She became queen on the 10th of July, 1553, and reigned for 9 days until the 19th of July that same year. And then Mary's army was forced... So then Mary's army had to arrest Jane, and she had to spend her 9 days in the Tower of London. And a year later, in 1554, Lady Jane Grey was executed at the Tower of London when she was only 17. Then after that, it passed on to Edward VI's older sister, Mary I, also known as Mary Tudor. She became king in October 1553 when she was 37. She reigned for only 5 years. She married King Philip II of Spain. He had 4 wives at the time, but Mary had 2 pregnancies, but she reigned for 5 years and died in November 1558 at the age of 42. She died of cancer. So then it went on to her other sister, Elizabeth I. She became queen in 1558 after her sister's death when she was 25. She reigned for 44 years. She reigned a little more longer than her father and her grandfather. But she did have one enemy during her reign. Her cousin was Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary, Queen of Scots, was Queen of Scotland in 1542 when she was 6 months until 1567 when James VI became King of Scotland when he was 1. She was the mother of James VI of Scotland and King James I of England. I will do a separate video on that. But in 1567, her husband was exploded in his bedroom. Mary, Queen of Scots, was taken in the Tower of London, imprisoned for 19 years. And then Elizabeth wanted to, she didn't sign the death penalty for Mary for 19 years, but she wanted to overthrow Elizabeth so she would become Mary the First of Scotland and Mary the Second of England. But that wasn't right because she was already Queen of Scotland. Sorry, she was already queen. She was already, sorry guys. She was already Queen of Scotland. And then in February 1587, her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots, was executed at the Tower of London. She had her cousin executed, by the way. And Elizabeth died in March 1603 at the age of 69. She died of either blood poisoning or depression. It depends, one of the two. So now we know about the Tudor dynasty. Let's get to know about Henry VII. Let's start with the title. I don't know. My top 20 favorite British monarchs. Part 7, Henry VII of England. Let's get started then. Oh yeah, and I had to find my make sure you guys won't get mad at me because I had to do my own research on Henry VII. So, without the way, let's get started. King Henry VII of England. Henry VII was born on the 20th of January 1457 and died on the 21st of April 1509. He was the King of England and Lord of Ireland from his seizure of the crown on the 22nd of August 1485 until his death in 1509. He was the first monarch of the House of Tudor. This is Henry VII. This portrait was Henry holding a rose and wearing the collar of the Order of the Golden Fleece. It was painted by an unknown Netherlandish artist in 1505. King of England. He reigned on the 22nd of August 1485 until the 21st of April 1509. His coronation was on the 30th of October 1485. His predecessor was Richard III, and his successor was his son, Henry VIII. He was born Henry Tudor, Earl of Richmond, on the 28th of January 1457 at Pembroke Castle. He was born in Wales. He died on the 21st of April 1509 at the age of 52. He died at Richmond Palace in England. He was buried on the 11th of May 1509 in Westminster Abbey. He married Elizabeth of York in 1486, but she died in 1503. Their children were Arthur, Prince of Wales, Margaret, Queen of Scots, Henry VIII, King of England, Elizabeth Tudor, Mary, Queen of France, Edmund, Duke of Somerset. Now, to be in note, Margaret was the next Queen of Scotland. That's why it's short Queen of Scots. That's why. And, by the way, Arthur was the only son to die at 15 at the time. His father was Edmund Tudor, the first Earl of Richmond, and his mother was Lady Margaret Beaufort. And what the hell is that signature? Henry's mother, Margaret Beaufort, was a descendant of John of Gaunt, founder of the House of Lancaster and son of King Edward III. Henry's father, Edmund Tudor, first Earl of Richmond, a half-brother of Henry VI of England, and a member of the Welsh Tudors of Peminend, died 3 months before his son Henry was born. During Henry's early years, he supported his uncle Henry VI and the Lancastrian cause in fighting the civil wars against Edward IV, a member of the Yorkist branch of the House of Plantagenet. After Edward retook the throne in 1471, Henry Tudor spent 14 years in exile in Brittany. What? 14 years, bro. He attained the throne with his forces, supported by France, Scotland, and Wales, defeated Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth. He was the last king of England to win this throne on the field of battle, defending it 2 years later at the Battle of Stoke to decisively end the Wars of the Roses from 1455 until 1487. Oh, it was 1487, not 1485. It was 1487. I'm so sorry, what did I say? Vindicting the Lancastrian cause, he centered his claim by marrying the Yorkist heiress, Elizabeth of York, the daughter of Edward IV. Henry restored power and stability to the English monarchy following the Civil War. He is credited with many administrative, economic, and diplomatic initiatives. His supportive policy towards England's wool industry and his standoff with the Low Countries had long-lasting benefits to the English economy. He paid very close attention to detail, and instead of spending lavish, he concentrated on raising new revenues. He established the government's finances by introducing several new taxes after his death. A commission found widespread abuses in the tax collection process. Henry reigned for nearly 24 years and was peacefully succeeded by his son, Henry VIII. Oh yeah, because he ruled for 23. Let's look at his and quick note, his death, he died of tuberculosis at 52. So yeah. Let's look at this is his early, oh my days. I'm not going to even look at his early life, because last time I did that with George II, it was really the rise to the throne. Oh my god. What about his reign? Too long. Whoa! Okay, why did they make this so long? Okay, I'm gonna rate... I'm sorry if I keep coughing. I'm still recovering from a sore throat, which I had like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, I'm gonna rate Henry VII a 9 out of 10. I mean, the reason why I give it a 9 out of 10 is because I really liked how he brought back the two warring houses together, the Lancastrians and the Yorkists. Even though Henry VII was a Lancastrian and his wife, Elizabeth of York, was a Yorkist. Now, here's a little fun fact. Why did Prince Arthur die before King Henry VII did? Well, because he became Prince of Wales. Obviously, he was the oldest son of Henry VII and Elizabeth of York. He married the Spanish princess Catherine of Aragon, who later became the Princess of Wales. She was born in 1485, and after that, they wed in 1501, but Arthur died of the sweating sickness at 15 in 1502. Catherine also got this sweating sickness, however, but she only recovered. So then 7 years later, when she was 23, she married the 18-year-old King Henry VIII, obviously, so... And Elizabeth of York, his wife, she died of childbed fever in 1503, a year after Prince Arthur's death. And Henry, by the time, was only 11 because he was born in 1491. So he was the second oldest child. The third oldest child, but I think he was the second oldest son because he outlived Arthur. And also the reason why Henry VII was a good king, because technically, he actually, I don't know how to say this, but he did actually defeat Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth Field, and that's in Leicestershire in 1485. But Richard's body was moved into Leicester Cathedral a few centuries later in 2015 on the 22nd of March. Well, I don't know why, but Richard was such a bad king. Plus, Richard even murdered both of his cousins. And by the way, Henry's uncle was Henry VI, who only became king in 1422 when he was 9 months old until 1460. And then he lost the throne. In 1461, he lost the throne to the 18-year-old Edward IV. I keep saying Henry. I don't know why. I'm so addicted to saying Henry. First, I'm saying George, and now I'm addicted to saying Henry. And then he became king in 1461 to 1470. Then Henry came back in 1470 to 1471. He was murdered in the Tower of London at 49. He was only the youngest person to become king at the age of 9 months. But Mary, Queen of Scots, was the youngest queen in Scotland to become queen. She was 6 days old because she was born in 1452. 1542, sorry. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because part 8 will be coming out in just 2 days. So make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already.